In 1825 in Tasmania, during the Black War between the British and the Aboriginal people, a young Irish woman named Claire lives with her husband and their baby daughter. She is nicknamed the Nightingale because of her beautiful singing voice. One day, when the local military leadership arrives in town, Claire performs in front of the soldiers. She has been convicted of a crime and now waits to receive the long-awaited documents that will finally grant her freedom. After the ceremony, Lieutenant Hawkins invites Claire to speak with him privately, implying that she should show him gratitude for everything he has done for her. When she rejects his advances, he forces himself on her. Back home, Claire tries desperately to hide what happened from her husband, Aidan. When she learns that the release papers still haven't been signed, Aidan decides to confront Hawkins himself. Early in the morning, Claire anxiously watches her husband leave to meet the lieutenant. A few minutes later, she sees him returning to work, signaling that his attempt failed. That night, after drinking heavily, Aidan attacks Hawkins at a tavern. The unit's commanding officer, Captain Jago, witnesses the fight, summons Hawkins to his office, and reprimands him for the incident. Jago then informs Hawkins that he will not be recommending him for promotion to captain. Furious and humiliated, Hawkins decides to pay the Carroll family a visit, blaming them for his failure. He takes Sergeant Roos and Ensign Jago along with him. The lieutenant storms into the young family's home, unleashing an act of pure horror. Claire is violated right in front of her husband, and moments later, Hawkins shoots Aidan dead. When their baby's piercing cries fill the room, Hawkins orders Roos to silence her, and the man kills the child by smashing her head against the door. Realizing the magnitude of their crimes, Hawkins orders Jago to deal with Claire. The young soldier hesitates and instead strikes her unconscious. When Claire wakes, she is met with a nightmare. Her husband and child are both dead. Grief-stricken, she goes to the commander's office but is treated with disdain. The officers make it clear that they have no intention of punishing Hawkins, since exposing the truth would harm the Army's image. Upon learning that Hawkins is heading north to take command of a new post, Claire vows revenge. She asks her friends to bury her loved ones, then sets out to hunt the lieutenant down. To guide her through the wilderness, she hires a young Aboriginal tracker named Billy. During their journey, Billy tells her that the soldiers also hired a local guide, and together they begin following the trail north. Meanwhile, among Hawkins's men, tension grows. One night, Ensign Jago expresses his fear that they could all be hanged for what they did. Hawkins coldly insists that the Carroll family brought it upon themselves. Elsewhere, Claire and Billy stop to rest for the night. The moment she closes her eyes, she hears the cries of her dead child. The nightmares torment her, keeping her awake until morning. As rain begins to fall, they press on. In the forest, Sergeant Roos encounters a dark-skinned woman with her young daughter. He drags the woman back to their camp, abandoning the child alone in the woods. Later, Claire and Billy reach a strong river. Crossing it would shorten their path significantly, so they attempt to ford it on horseback. The current nearly sweeps them away. The horse manages to reach the bank, but Claire is caught in the current. Seeing her being dragged downstream, Billy dives in to save her. After resting, they continue north. Later, after losing a sack of supplies in another river crossing, they stop at the first house they see. Starving, they steal some food and escape from the furious owner. That night, as they prepare to sleep, Claire encounters a strange man in the forest. Excited to find a lone woman, he calls out to his companions, but Billy ambushes the man before he can harm Claire, and together they flee into the night. Meanwhile, Hawkins viciously assaults the Aboriginal woman Roos captured earlier, then gives her to the sergeant. He later talks to a boy named Eddie, an orphan who follows the soldiers in hopes of finding food and purpose. The next morning, Claire wakes to see Billy crafting a spear. He plans to hunt for food. Elsewhere, Hawkins's squad is attacked by Aboriginal warriors. They kill one of the workers, and the tribe's leader demands the return of his kidnapped wife. Hawkins shoots the man's wife in front of him, then flees into the forest with his men. Wounded and terrified, Ensign Jago wanders the woods until he stumbles upon people, but they turn out to be the grieving mother of the murdered baby. Realizing who he's facing, Jago runs. Claire sends Billy to watch the horse and goes after him. When she finally catches up, Claire shoots him. Jago pleads for mercy, but her gun jams, and she attacks him with her bare fists, beating the man who killed her child to death. During the fight, Claire manages to grab Jago's knife and stabs him repeatedly. Then, enraged, she strikes him over and over with the butt of her rifle until his head becomes a bloody, unrecognizable mess. Horrified, Billy walks away, but after learning the true reason behind such a brutal killing, he agrees to continue showing her the way. Soon, they come across a wagon that Hawkins's men were forced to abandon after encountering Aboriginal warriors. While Billy examines the clearing, he tries to warn Claire of potential danger, but she insists on pressing forward. The next morning, she wakes from yet another nightmare, suffering intense pain in her chest. She is a nursing mother, and her milk has nowhere to go. Fainting and falling down a small ravine, Claire finally agrees to undergo a spiritual ritual that Billy suggests, meant to ease her suffering and restore her strength. Afterward, he lets her rest while he hunts for food. For the first time in many days, the two are able to eat properly. Meanwhile, Charlie, the Aboriginal guide leading Hawkins's squad, intentionally takes them in the wrong direction to avenge what the soldiers did to his people. Hawkins, desperate, offers him anything to show the correct path, but the old man refuses. Without hesitation, Sergeant Roos shoots him dead. Furious, Hawkins slaps Roos for killing the only man who could guide them out. A day later, Hawkins, now visibly unhinged, orders Roos to hand over his gun to the boy Eddie. Only 4 of them remain, supplies are running low, and they still don't know where the town is. Back on Claire's trail, she and Billy find Charlie's body. They bury him following Aboriginal traditions, then continue their pursuit. Now Billy too wants revenge for the death of his uncle. Before long, they catch sight of their target, but Hawkins spots Claire first and shoots her, wounding her shoulder. She flees into the forest, and Billy finds her later, helping her hide. When he goes to retrieve their horse, he comes across Hawkins's group. The soldiers beat Billy and force him to guide them toward the city. Along the way, he begins making strange bird-like calls, noises that seem random but are actually signals meant to help Claire follow them without being seen. Eventually, Hawkins realizes what's happening and fires several shots in her direction. That night, Claire wanders through the dark forest, haunted by the screams and cries from that night of horror. At dawn, she hears Billy's calls again and follows them. Emerging onto a dirt road, she meets a traveling couple who tell her she's finally reached the main road to the city. A passing carriage stops, and a noblewoman inside orders her driver to give Claire a ride. Moments later, Claire sees Billy running out from the trees. She jumps off the carriage and runs to him. From the look in his eyes, she immediately understands. Hawkins's group is finished. They continue together and soon find a small house on the outskirts of town. Inside, the owners lie dead in their bed. Claire and Billy take food and clean clothes before moving on. On the road, they encounter a group of white settlers leading Aboriginal captives. To avoid suspicion, Claire points her gun at Billy and pretends he's her slave. A few miles later, an elderly couple in a wagon offers them shelter for the night. The old man invites not only Claire but also Billy to share dinner with them, something that deeply moves her. Overcome with emotion, she begins to cry at the table. The next morning, the old man drives them into the city. There, they come face to face with Hawkins. He orders Roos to fetch a constable and announces that he's captured a thief who tried to kill a soldier. Furious, Claire tells Billy to go hide while she follows Hawkins to a tavern. In front of the officers, she confronts him, telling him everything she feels. Hawkins tries to justify himself to the new commanding officer, and when she refuses to stay silent, he strikes her across the face. In response, Claire looks him straight in the eyes and begins to sing, the haunting song of the nightingale. Then, without another word, she walks out. That night, Hawkins rides out of town. Claire awakens later and, realizing he's gone, decides to follow. She arrives to find Billy already inside Hawkins's room, stabbing him to death. Sergeant Roos bursts in after hearing the noise and shoots one of Billy's tribesmen. But Billy manages to overpower and kill him too. As dawn approaches, Claire and Billy ride together to the riverbank. After completing his final ritual, Billy sits in the sand facing the sunrise, his last dawn. Claire begins to sing softly, watching the rising sun. It's all she can do now. Those who destroyed her life have been punished, and what happens to her next no longer matters. This is the end. If you got here, comment the keyword wolf. Subscribe and like to help an unemployed person. Until next time, bye-bye.